In Jurassic World Rebirth, we were introduced to these new two species. One was a snake type thing and the other an ancient amphibian. But guess what? The movie makers don't even know what these things are themselves. So I put two polls up on what the amphibian and snake thing is, with three of the most popular species as the options to vote on, and what these things are, and gave a description on what it's most likely to be to help people vote. So let's start with the snake thing. So a total of 78 people in the Jurassic community voted on this poll, and obviously the votes are climbing as I'm recording this audio, and commented. And here are the results and some of the comments. So the first comment is by Mate, saying he believes it's a snake, or a snake or type of snake on the island, and he's 99% sure it's not a lamprey or an eel. Now I do think it's the lamprey personally myself. We'll dive into why it's the lamprey in a second, but me personally, I do not think it's a snake. There is a chance, but let's take a look at the poll again. A majority of people think that this is the giant lamprey, like we saw in Jurassic World Dominion. A total of 78% or 78% of people on my poll said it was the giant lamprey. And I agree, but granted, it's not everyone in the Jurassic World, in the Jurassic community voting on these polls. But for what I've seen online and in other videos, most people agree it's the giant lamprey, not just the people who voted on this poll. And here is a quick explanation on why it's the giant lamprey. The body of the snake thing we see in Rebirth looks just like the Dominion giant lamprey, the way it moves too, plus the coloration is really similar, and the overall texture looks like the giant lamprey we see in Dominion, and the one in Rebirth definitely matches the giant lamprey. And not to mention the size of the giant lamprey compared to the Rebirth snake is almost spot on, but I do believe the one in Dominion is a baby. I mean, by the looks of it, it looks like a baby to me. The second option was a regular snake / water eel, which out of the 78 people that voted on the poll, 20% in the Jurassic community thinks it's a snake / water eel. But from what I've seen online in other videos, this is the second closest species it could be, other than the giant lamprey. Or it could be the water eel. But we need to break it down even more to find out what this thing is, as right now it's between a giant lamprey or a regular snake / water eel. But wait, there was one more option, which was the titanoboa, which only around like 3% of people voted for. Now, just real quick, let me explain why it's not the titanoboa. So it's too skinny, moves nothing like a titanoboa, too small, and why wouldn't Gareth Edwards just say this is a titanoboa, as titanoboa is a well-known name, so having it in the Jurassic franchise would be a big thing, but Gareth Edwards doesn't seem to act like this snake is something major, like titanoboa, so we can already get rid of titanoboa as an option. So back to the two options, giant lamprey or water eel. So a regular snake like the anaconda would probably not be that likely, as the coloration wouldn't really look like the one we saw in Rebirth, plus the one in Rebirth is bigger than a regular snake. But a water eel, on the other hand, looks really similar. Coloration wise, it looks almost perfect, and the texture of a water eel to the one in Rebirth just looks almost spot on. So I am really, it's really hard to decide between a giant lamprey or a water eel. So I'm going to go with giant lamprey only because we saw it in Dominion in a previous movie, and maybe Gareth Edwards got inspired by the giant lamprey in Jurassic World Dominion. So I think as a Jurassic community, I would think we should refer to this snake as a giant lamprey, but water eel is definitely close as well. But you guys can all have your own opinions. I'm just pointing out evidence and what it's most likely to be. You can still have your own opinion, but it's most likely to be a giant lamprey or a water eel. And obviously, depending on how many people watch this video, hopefully I've changed some of your guys' mind to think it's a giant lamprey, and in the future we can maybe refer to it as a giant lamprey. So now moving on to the amphibian. Now only around 30 people voted on the amphibian poll. Now obviously I only posted the poll 4 hours ago, so it could rise in numbers soon. So most people think it's the ichthyostega, including myself. 10% of people think it's the acanthostega, close, but I'll explain why it's not. And around 7% of people think it's diplocalus. So let's start with acanthostega. Now acanthostega looks definitely, it looks kind of identical to the one in Rebirth. Here is an image side by side. But the only thing wrong about acanthostega, it doesn't have the like spine bit on the back, not spine bit, I don't know what to call it, but if you know what I mean, the spine bit on its back, I'll have an arrow pointing to it when I edit this video. So it could be acanthostega, as I mean, you know, the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park designs definitely differ to the real life counterparts. so there is a chance it could be acanthostega. But the only thing wrong with acanthostega is the head of acanthostega is more flattened out, and the one we see in Rebirth is more elongated, just like ichthyostega. Ichthyostega's head is elongated, so let's move on to the ichthyostega now. Ichthyostega head is elongated, just like the one we see in Jurassic World Rebirth. The spine thing and the tail as well is identical to the one in Rebirth, and the overall build of ichthyostega looks like the one in Rebirth. And diplocalus, I just said that wrong, didn't I? I do not think is it, as the diplocalus has a boomerang head, and the one in Rebirth has no boomerang head at all, so I do not think it is that. Diplocalus. Okay, I know how to pronounce it now. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope this video gets the most views as possible, so we can all refer to the snake thing as giant lamprey or water eel, and the amphibian is ichthyostega or acanthostega. You can still have your own opinions, but evidence points to the amphibian being ichthyostega and the snake being giant lamprey or water eel. Now I have to go edit the images for this video and the arrows and all that, so yeah, that's going to be fun for me. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.